And I'm just going to give it just another 2 minutes just to let people slowly trickle in.
Yeah, of course. By the way, hi, Maxine.
Hello again, Maxine.
At that point, there'll be more flexibility for them to, I mean, this semester's kind of cast, they already have their game plan.
Yeah.
But for the spring semester, I think that hopefully we'll have some more options that they can explore for that.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, everybody. Yeah, for sure.
There we go. Take myself on mute there. I'm going to kick everything off for us now. To our attendees, thank you guys for coming today to our virtual spring open house, and welcome to the information session for the Brewmaster program. My name is Cole Keys. I'm a student recruiter. I'm just going to start us off with a brief land acknowledgement. Niagara College acknowledges the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples, many of whom continue to live and work here today. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the land protected by the Ditch with One Spoon, One Palm Agreement. Today, this gathering place is home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people, and acknowledging reminds us that our great standard of living is directly related to the resources and friendships of Indigenous peoples. So just a few kind of housekeeping notes here. A reminder that to all attendees that the deadline to accept your offer of admission is May 1st. There are many programs that still have an open fall, winter, or spring intake. So whether you're exploring a program with us or in another academic area, there are still open intakes if you guys want to look at. We will have a brief period at the end for questions and answers. So if you'd like to keep your questions until the end, I will make sure that we moderate our way through those. There is a live chat feature that you can engage with us directly here, or if you'd like, you can actually engage with the student recruitment team on the website. There is a live chat there where you can talk to someone directly, as well as international. Due to the college being closed because of COVID, of course, we do have an online virtual tour that you can sign up for. On the website, you can just go to, I believe it's NC Students, and under there, you can actually book a tour and see all the facilities for yourself still firsthand. All of the sessions today are being recorded. So with the recordings, whether you're looking to see another academic session that might be going on at the same time, you can actually access that or refer back to this later. In regards to the fall term, Niagara College is closely monitoring the public health measures. So that being said, we are actually anticipating an increase in on-campus learning for the anticipated fall 2021 term. However, that is in accordance with public health guidelines. Courses and program elements that return to campus will comply with all public health measures and directives. So that means that we are enforcing all the PPE equipment, the proper social distancing guidelines. And if you guys want to stay up to date with how Niagara College is handling the COVID operations and how we're operating under this, you can visit niagaracollege.ca/COVID-19. So without further ado, we do actually have a special guest attendance today, Fiona Allen. She is our Vice President of Academics. I'm going to actually turn it over to her to introduce herself and allow her to kick this off for us.
All right. Good morning or good afternoon. It's afternoon now, everyone. I'm Fiona Allen, the Vice President Academic at Niagara College, and I wanted to just pop in and say welcome and thank you for attending our virtual open house. We really do appreciate it. I can't say enough about this program. You won't be disappointed. It is one of our flagship programs, and I personally enjoy the beer that our students make. Love trying it, love tasting it. Lots of exciting things happen in this program. So I know that this past year, well, a lot of our learning has been virtual, but as you'll see from the students that are here to speak to you, you certainly get hands-on experience with the program. You get to brew beer, and that is that's probably one of the most amazing things, that you get to brew it, and you get to brew it to your own kind of specifications and use your own creativity to produce different types of beer. And so it's a very creative program, a very hands-on program. And I don't need to say any more about it because I know our students will give you lots of information and feedback on it. So please don't hesitate to ask questions. You've got great people here to give you information about the program. Our students are the best people to speak about the program because they're in it and they know firsthand what it's like to be a student at Niagara College in the Brewmaster program. So welcome. Thank you for being interested in our program and our college. And I hope you get all the answers you're looking for today. And I hope to see you as a Niagara College student.
Awesome. Thank you, Fiona.
Thank you,
So
Fiona.
without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and let us get underway. Excellent. You guys can all see this?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, Adrian.
All right, so without further ado, I'll just introduce myself. My name is Adrian Popovich. I'm joined here. I'm the program coordinator. I'm also a professor of the program as well. I'm joined by a few students live today, Ben Seward and Logan Mossman, who are their roommates, so that's why they're in the same room together. And Sophie Zimmer, who's another one of our students. All three of these students are in our third semester, so they'll have experienced quite a lot up to date. And we also, as you'll see shortly, we'll have some other testimonials that will come up with other students, and hopefully we'll give you a good overview of the program. Today's agenda is drink beer and stuff. Well, maybe a little bit more detail than just those two things. I'll get a chance to introduce you to some of our faculty. In this case, it's within this setting, we probably won't have time to chat with each other necessarily, but hopefully feel free to reach out to us either through questions or if you want some follow-up contacts. Always happy to respond back to emails or whatever method works best for you. But we're going to talk about the program specifically, and hopefully that'll generate some questions for you. Next slide, please. So this was, can you go back one slide just for a second? So this was an interesting shot. Rick Mercer, I don't know if anyone remembers him, but it was a great visit of the day that we'd had a few years ago. It was quite phenomenal. You can see though, this particular photo shows all four of our graduating, of our student body rather, at that particular year. So this was done, I think, 3 years ago at this point. But next slide, please. So we'll start off with a testimonial from Logan, another Logan, yes. Please go ahead, click.
Hello, future students. My name is Logan, and I am a first-term student in the Niagara College Brewmaster and Brewery Operations program. And for this open house, they asked me to produce a short little testimonial and answer some questions. The first question we have is why I chose to go to Niagara College. Well, I chose to go to Niagara College because I got to the end of an undergraduate program and realized that I needed to choose a different career path. And I knew that if I was going to pick a different career path, I needed to get an education from the best facility I could, from the best institution that I could, to ensure that I had the best foundation to start a new career. Using some of the research skills I developed during my undergraduate studies, I was able to determine very rapidly that Niagara College is one of the top 4 schools, specifically for this program. The second question is, what do you love about being a student at Niagara College? I get to work with some of the best equipment and some of the most knowledgeable faculty members. You always feel like you're learning something, you're learning hands-on skills, and you're learning it in an environment that encourages and fosters success in whichever sort of program you are currently working towards. I feel that especially is the case in the Brewmaster and Brewery Operations Management program. Question 3. How you feel supported by Niagara College faculty, staff, and services. Simply put, they're never more than a click away. Especially now in modern day COVID times. I've never waited longer than 2-3 hours for a response from one of my professors or one of my instructors. So they're honestly always a click away. They honestly have your best educational interest at heart. They want you to succeed, they want you to get where you want to go, and they are more than happy to help you along the way in any capacity that they can, whether it's helping you with some sort of hands-on project you're doing, or just asking or answering basic questions. They are there to help you, and you feel that encouragement and you feel that tutelage in every step of the educational process. Lastly, they asked me to talk about the transition to online learning. The transition was very smooth. I understand that they had to put a lot of it together very rapidly, and on short notice, but everything was laid out very easily. They had very easy to follow tutorials to understand the formatting they were using with Blackboard. All of your courses are readily available. All of your course information is organized into the subheadings you will need to most easily navigate it. And as mentioned with the previous question, if you're having any issues, you can contact your professor or your instructor, and they will get back to you very quickly with whatever kind of solution you need. Well, that's everything from me today. I hope that answers some questions, gives you a little bit of an idea of what it's like to go here as a first-term student. Niagara College is a really great place. You're going to like it here, so stick around.
I like the fact that he has in the background is this lovely little mash tun, so you can see he home brews, which we encourage all of our students to do. So next up is Joel Drug, one of the compatriots of our group up here in third semester as well. So without further ado, maybe Cole, if you don't mind starting the vid.
Hey everyone, my name is Joel, and I'm a term 3 student in the Brewmaster program, and I'm going to be telling you why I chose Niagara College. I love the school. It's a nice small school. The people here are super friendly. The atmosphere is great, and the region here in Niagara, you couldn't ask for a better region to study. I love being an NC student. The reason why I love being an NC student is that you feel welcome, you feel involved, and you see people from day to day, and you don't feel lost in the crowd. And I love that feeling. It makes us a strong little community. Here at Niagara College, we have a great team and a great faculty. It's great to know that we have professors who are knowledgeable in the field of brewing. If we have any questions, they really do get back to our emails, and they really bring their experience with them. The faculty here is also pretty good. We have many resources like the Accessibility Center, Health and Wellness Center, NC SACS, which is the student union that represents us. And having all that together under one building was very important why I chose Niagara College. So transition from the current times right now, with our program there are some classes in person, the necessities, the more applied learning classes, where some classes that are more lecture-based are moved onto online. So our program, it is hybridized, and with that, we still try to get as much experience as we can. And yeah, this is why I love Niagara College. I hope you guys have an awesome tour, open house. I'm sure they're going to give you a great virtual tour of our brewery. And thank you.
I loved hearing the geese in the background, and you can see the amazing background that's there, right? It's just phenomenal as well. So maybe we'll take a couple of seconds because I see that Craig and Gary are there. Craig Udale, Gary Torville. Craig's our dean and Gary's our associate dean for our wing. If I could maybe just let them introduce themselves briefly.
Sure. So thanks very much, Adrian. And so just a quick hello to everyone on the call. I'm Craig Udell. I'm the Dean of the Canadian Food and Wine Institute. I'll let Gary introduce himself.
Hi, everybody. It's Gary Torville, the Associate Dean for the Canadian Food and Wine Institute. And nice to see some blue shirts out there with the Brew program logos. That's fantastic. We're all logoed up today for this really important day in the college for recruitment opportunities. And so I want to thank, first of all, those who are involved in sharing information today and answering questions. And to all those out there that will listen now or listen to the recording, thanks very much for your interest in our programs. This has always been a highlight program for us, and in its 10th year has certainly demonstrated its value to the industry. So it's absolutely a program that will provide you with a link to jobs when you graduate, and the amount of hands-on training that's provided in this program is absolutely incredible, and you will have tremendous experiences with it all. And I know that Adrian will talk a lot more about that, and others if they're on the call. And thanks again to everyone for taking the time to join us today. We really appreciate that.
Take care, everyone. And normally, I see Gary and I are here at school today. Normally, this is a crazy place on open house and thousands of people roaming our halls and looking to, especially places like our brewery. So I know you'll see it in pictures and video today, but there's nothing like seeing it in person. So hopefully you get a chance to do that soon. Hopefully we'll see you here very soon as a student. Really one of the most unique programs, quite honestly, in Canada, and hopefully you guys get a chance to experience it. And the camaraderie and the connection that all the Brew students have together is really something special. So take care. I'll turn it back over to Adrian. I see John's smiling face on the screen. So we're out. We're heading to the distilling, guys. So we're making the round. So have a great session, and we'll see you guys soon.
See you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Craig. Thank you, Gary.
Welcome.
So,
Thank you.
Yeah. So as a good segue, I just want to introduce you virtually, I guess, in this sense, to some of our staff. John Downing, who's our teaching brewery. We sort of break things into, the academic side of things, but then there's also the teaching brewery side of things. So John, 20 plus years of experience. I think he set up over 300 breweries around the world. Well known and well experienced. George Eagleson, a good friend of mine prior to joining Niagara College. I actually followed his footsteps in various breweries. It's kind of funny how that worked. But he's been also at least 20 years of experience, and he'll be giving you, partaking and sharing a lot of the hands-on knowledge that he has. Next up is Brad Barta. He's actually a graduate of the program, and he actually created his own little label as well. So he's been doing a little bit of that. He's our lead brewer, and he can give you some perspective as your semester progresses and share some of that experience that he had as well. Next up, this is me with a beard. That'll probably grow back eventually. It's the first time in about 20 years that I actually shaved it off, but that's a whole other story. I have a lot of experience in chemistry, biotechnology, and got the beer bug when I lived in San Diego and went to Germany and did my schooling there, my formal brewmaster training, and have been going crazy brewing a storm for close to the last 20 years as well. So I hope to bring in a lot of that shared experience, plus a lot of business skills that I have. Nate Ferguson is focused on a lot of our microbiological kind of studies, graduate of University of Guelph, but also co-founder of Escarpment Labs Yeast Company. I don't know if that rings a bell to you or not, but brings a lot of that great knowledge to us as well. Next one. So then Rob Doyle, a graduate of Harriet Watt University, so brings a lot of skills on that side as well. Also quite a lot of experience in various breweries, including Mill Street. So just a phenomenal background of people that you have here to help you out. Next up. We also have a liaison who also teaches as well. His name is Victor North. What an interesting gentleman. I've known him for quite a while as well. Had his own brewery. So that's kind of the interesting perspective. He and his wife had started Garden Brewing's way back, and you're going to learn not only the successes, but you're going to also learn the tough part about brewing as well. And, it takes a lot. Everyone can make a great beer theoretically, but to actually sell it's another story too. So you have to have both of those things. Just a shot here of our hop gardens. You saw Joel in the previous video, how it was back there. Those obviously not growing yet. So you'll see those by the time you join us. Hopefully, if you time it right, you'll see these lovely plants that grow literally 20, 30 feet up in the air. It's phenomenal, but this is at harvest time. Some of the equipment that we have, there are going to be other tour videos that you can see, but these are just some of the fermenters for the pilot systems where you can generate up to about 120 liters of beer. But that's the whole thing that's amazing about this program is it's not just theory, it's a lot of hands-on. Every week you're in the brewery doing various different tasks. And so the students that I have here today can speak to that as well. Of course, there's a scientific component to this. Beer is a science and an art at the same time, and mastering both is key to doing this reliably. Next up. So of course, the reality of the world that we're in right now under COVID, and we're one of the few college programs or actually educational programs going on right now that actually is live in class. And we've adapted to, restrictions and those sorts of things very well. And the fact that we have really good protocols for PPE and distancing and other things. Just like one thing I should mention is this is true for breweries. Breweries are considered essential services and they did not shut down during this COVID crisis, and we have to learn to adapt and all work safely together. And this goes all the way into our tasting rooms. This is an example of one of our tasting rooms. Just to take that a step further, there's little cubicles so that people can actually taste and sample without having, the mask environments. There's extra air purifiers. We went to really great lengths to try to maintain and the safety of our students and faculty as well. And it's worked out really well. Of course, part of the fun stuff is the festivals, and hopefully we'll get to partake in more of those shortly. But there's a capstone project called Project Brew that you heard Fiona mention early on, that we're hoping to once again bring that out to the public, because that's one of the amazing things, is that the students get to create a project, an event, and have some fun with it at the same time meeting people. Now, of course, there's events that we have with beer. Of course, it's kind of one of those things. We'll actually hopefully, once COVID's done, get a chance to visit other breweries, partake in seminars and symposiums. And the one thing that we want to emphasize here is just, if you're going to visit a brewery, take this up. Don't wear your sandals, wear steel toe shoes, whatever brewery you visit, because you don't want to hurt your toes. Next up. So from a perspective of the program, I'm just going to give you a quick nitty gritty about it in terms of what you can expect. Next up. So congratulations, thank you for thinking of us. Next up, but wait a second. Next slide, please. There's quite a lot to learn. This is the fun part, is there's a lot to learn. But then on the other hand, there's a lot to learn, right? And so that, it's good and bad. If I break it down by semester, I'm not going to list all of these courses, but it's kind of like getting the idea of what's going on, understanding the basics. Next semester is really, okay, honing in those skills a little bit more. And this is both on the practical side and the science side. And then by third semester, you kind of are advanced enough to hopefully start creating your own kind of stuff, right? And then showing that you can actually follow recipes and create things to a set standard. And at the end, that's when we let our students loose, and they're able to fully develop individual styles of beer, unique different things, create an event, and it's a lot of fun too. But then we're also going to hone in on the business side of skills that are essential actually at the end of the day, right? You can make a great beer, but if you don't know how to sell it or make a profit with it, your business is going to fail anyway, right? So it's all important. Next up. So one of the common questions is, will I get a job at a brewery? So Cole, just keep sliding the slides for the next couple. So here we are in the GTA, and outlying area, keep going all the way through here. Next up, even through the country, we spread out. Obviously, we're mostly Ontario focused, right? Because that's where the college is, but we do have students around the world, well, various parts of the world. We have quite a few students every semester from either Korea or South America. So word gets around, and it's because of the quality of the hands-on and theory that we try to impart into our students. Next up, please. So the success rate, I should mention, is well over 95% of students get jobs right at this point. Our program, the brewery program, is part of a group called Canadian Food and Wine Institute. So we also teach winemaking, baking, culinary, beer distilling is one of our new things as well, and even mead production. So it's quite a bit of a broad base of things, if you will. And they all go hand together, right? You want to have a beverage, you want to have some food, right? So it's all perfect. And we share a lot when we're on campus. And normally the bakers or the chefs, we try to inspire each other. Let's just say that. Next up, please. Just a tad that there are safety requirements. If you do decide to pursue the program, we can talk about that. But the basic thing is proper footwear. You can jump to the next slide, please. So yeah, there's lots of parking, so that's good. And there's a chance for you to get free money. I don't know if it may be difficult for you to financially get to here, but there are quite a few options available for bursaries and scholarships. So by all means, look those up prior and at any point. Of course, college life, it's, during the pandemic is even harder than normal, but typically we try to emphasize the social component of it because it's a unique experience. There's the lifestyle that we try to promote, lots of volunteer opportunities. And the next one that I want to speak to is just amazing. And that's why we have our special guest also, Maxine Semple here, who helps run the Be World Ready program. And one of the amazing programs that we were hoping to get started, and then COVID hit, was this lovely trip to South Korea, because there's amazing knowledge and development that they did with some of their beverages, a lot of rice-based beverages that they had there as well. And just a phenomenal, we are going to do this again. Maxine's there. We are going to do this trip, and we're going to do some other trips. Please, next slide. And then I'll ask Maxine to speak a little bit of these things too. And this was, a trip that also had to sadly get canceled by COVID, but we are going to do this trip as well. Darn. And the photo is actually from our students in 2019, a trip that I was able to lead, because I'm trained in Germany, and I was able to share a lot of the locations and experience and contacts that I had with a lot of the students at that time. So maybe I'll leave Maxine here to say a couple of words just on that behalf.
Sure. Thank you, Adrian, so much. And Adrian is 100% right. These trips are happening, not right now, but the very moment that we can safely get back out there into the world, the Be World Ready program, which is a signature program at Niagara College, open to all students. Some are vocationally specific, as Adrian has just noted here, but we are really looking forward to getting back out there and supplying as many students as possible who choose to have international experiences as part of their education at Niagara College. Adrian can speak to it far better than I can, especially with the industry in which we're speaking about today with the Brewmaster program. But having that cultural diversity, understanding the different flavors and tastes and sounds and things that exist across the world, and how that can influence, of all things, beer, it is really remarkable. Adrian just showed you the South Korean trip that we were looking at, and you're going to correct me because I'm going to say it wrong, but it all came from a project that Victor North, wonderful, Adrian mentioned at the beginning of this seminar, but Victor came up with this project that was around Maca Valley. Is that what the type of, did I say it right?
Yeah, close enough, Macchioli.
Close enough, okay, all right. It's a type of beer, it turns out. I learned a whole bunch of stuff about it, but because of this project that he had in his course, we ended up giving a scholarship to support a Be World Ready traveler to be able to go on this South Korea trip. And that trip was all around the beverage and food industry, which is so rich and diverse within South Korea. And that was the brainchild of Victor North. This Germany trip, as Adrian had told you off at the beginning of this presentation, that he himself studied in Germany and brought forward to us this opportunity to go to Germany and take our students there to experience some of the most incredible, it's one of the homelands of brew, right, as they say. And so you can't get better than that. And one of the best pictures I've ever seen, and Adrian, please again correct me, I might get the date wrong, but I believe it was a group of Niagara College students in an 800 or 900-year-old cellar.
Oh, it's at least that long, right? Yes, exactly. 900, yeah. It's
drinking beer
in the world, the oldest breweries in the world. We went to 2 of the oldest breweries in the world. They argue with each other who's the oldest. One of them is kind of like a private institution now, but they're also like a university, and the other one's like monks. So do I trust the university or the monks? They were within a close space to each other. So yeah, phenomenal.
But what that is an opportunity that is so unique to Niagara College, so unique to this Brewmaster program. And it is because of the incredible faculty and the expertise that they bring to you and their international experiences. They want to share that with you so that you can be as successful as possible, whether you decide to open up a brew operation here in Niagara, in Canada, or if you decide to go and do so in South Korea, as some of our students have over the years. So I look forward to the moment that we can get back out there and have incredible faculty leads like Adrian showing you not only parts of the world, but how it connects back to your vocation that you're going to go into with this program. So thank you, Adrian, for the moment to speak about that. I look forward to welcoming everybody to a Be World Ready trip really, really soon.
Thanks, Maxine. Yeah, and that's kind of the thing that we do, and we try to do even with the trips that we do locally for our students, is just to give them a chance when we do visit breweries or other places, is to see things that you would not see as a general tourist, right? If you go visit a brewery tour, even if you go to an Ontario brewery, you don't necessarily chat as long with the brewmaster or understand some of the background things. So we try to give you some of those contacts that are going to help you out. In terms of other things that we do, there's the volunteering component, and there's different opportunities there. It's somewhat more limited, of course, at the moment because of COVID, sadly. But we do try to do different things at different times. Next slide, please. So this is, oh, if you can go back one, please. Yeah, so this is a fun event, hopefully, that we'll get a chance to redo. It's the Caps, Corks, and Forks, we call this. So it's literally, if you can see, I just love this shot because you have the beer guy and the wine dude, if you want to call him that, or dudette, doesn't matter what they are. But at the end of the day, it's just the funny transposition. And it's a fun rivalry that we have between the brewing folks and the winery. We work with various chefs at the college, and we create, interesting menus, and the public votes. And that's what's amazing on what's the best pairings, right? And matchings for food and beverage. So, but it's just the seriousness of each of their faces. I know them both really well, and it's pretty funny because they're the nicest guys in the world. But they look really serious there. There are other things that we try to do with regards to outside classroom events, and I could maybe jump into those a little bit more. Sadly, of course, I sound like a broken record, I apologize, but because of COVID, a lot of these are virtual. Next slide, Cole. Yeah, so the whole idea, of course, is to get networking as much as we can, try to maximize the contact that we have with various brewers to help the brewers find those jobs after they finish their studies. Next up, please. So these are some of the various ones that we would have in a normal week: Toronto Beer Week, Ontario Brewing Awards, the Canadian Brewing Awards that we are invited to. We also send beers from the college. The student-made beers go to these awards, and it's very exciting. MBA conference, of course, now those are virtual, and other conferences that we get to go to as well. There's different festivals that we partake in as much as we can as well. And one of the things that we try to do with our students is try to go on brewery tours locally as well, from an educational component, so they can understand how different size breweries are able to meet their production needs. Next up. We also try to promote home brewing with our students, and there's a local competition that we have on site, and all students are welcome to. We're going to make sure that we try to do this for this summer. I think Victor North is usually our lead for this, but this is an example from a couple of years ago of all the students judging the beers for this. Next slide, please. And so it's interesting, of course, for students, it's no cost to enter. What's really great about it is it's judged by certified judges. There's a mechanism that you may or may not have heard of called the Brew Judge Certification Program. Our students are being trained how to taste according to these guidelines. And so that's something that they can possibly speak to, but it's a good way to test your skills, right? Next up. So just a little bit more about it. We'd also try to create unique styles and themes that are optional. And in the past, we've done things like we heard Maxine describe, we talked about the Korean trip. We had one that was focused on macchioli. We also in 2020 had indigenous inspired styles using local ingredients that you might not think of in traditional brewing. And of course, there's a chance to earn points and medals, which is kind of fun. So that I think we'll for sure have going on in one shape or form this semester. Next slide, please. I think we're kind of there at this point. So maybe without further ado, if I could, I don't know, maybe we'll start with, you guys want to start first, or Sophie, whoever?
Yeah, we can start first.
Yeah, all right.
So hello, my name is Ben Seward. I'm in the second year at the college, and kind of have the same questions in front of me. So I'll try to get through them with some detail. But why I chose Niagara College. So when I was 18, I was working in tap rooms in my local breweries. I'm from Eastern Ontario, just a little hamlet called Rideau Ferry. So just kind of the local breweries. And I kind of got interested in brewing, and both the breweries that I was working at, the brewers told me that if I wanted to get into it, I should really consider Niagara College. So here I am. And also just like another thing, like where we are, like in Ontario, it's beautiful down here. like the Noddle campus is just like a beautiful campus. It's close to Niagara on the Lake, which I'd never been to. It's a beautiful town. Yeah, it's like a really cool place to explore. And then basically why I like being an NC student. When I came down here, I basically knew absolutely no one. And like within a week and a half, I met, you know, Logan, who's my best friend, Sophie, who's also on here, is also my best friend. It's just, it happened a lot. It was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And the reason I think that is just because you're with like-minded people. And the brewing industry, I think, attracts a lot of good people. Yeah, that's one thing about NC. And then just like being supported by the faculty, I'll kind of echo like the other videos. Like a lot of the time, yeah, your professors are like one email away for helping you. And then also just like the relationship with the faculty members, like it kind of, you know, when they need to be teachers and kind of your quote unquote bosses, they are, but for the most part, it's more of like you're dealing with your colleagues and your friends, which I think is kind of rare in a school setting. So I think that's like a really, you know, Niagara College Brewmaster specific or winery or whatever, but Niagara College specific, I'd say. And then, yeah, like the transition to online learning, you know, it's COVID really like dealt a blow. And I think, you know, I think Niagara College and the teachers in the program really, you know, stepped up to the plate and they're doing the best that they can. You know, it's not easy, but I do, you know, it's not the same as when we were in person, but I think it's like the very next best thing. And I think, yeah, I think that's, you know, commendable to the faculty for sure. Anyway, that's my piece.
I guess I'll speak now. My name's Logan. I'm 23. I'm in semester 3, like Ben, second year. Why I chose Niagara College? I'm from up north from Barrie, and I was trying to get a job at various breweries, and everyone I talked to was pointing me to this program. And so when I started doing more research, I found out that this program is like one of the best in Canada and even the world. And so that's why I decided to come down here. What I love about being a Niagara student, I love the sense of community. The school is like a lot of fun. Working in the brewery is awesome, getting like the hands-on experience. Pre-COVID, there was a lot going on. There's lots of events, and we even had our own like ball hockey team for the brewing program. We call ourselves the Beer Bellies. So there's a lot of fun stuff going on. Yeah, how I feel supported by the faculty and services. Everyone's great. Pre-COVID, there was lots of places you could go to get help if you had any issues. Now it's just like an email away. The transition to online learning has been definitely a learning curve, but in a way it's almost easier at times because you're able to take things at your own pace and stuff. And yeah, so it's a great school. I love it here. Would definitely recommend it to anyone.
Thank you both. Yeah, really appreciate that. Sophie, if you're able to maybe speak a bit.
Yeah, hi, my name's Sophie. I'm 25 and I'm originally from Halifax, Nova Scotia. I chose Niagara College because I was working in a couple different breweries, and I was the cellarman for a local brewery in Halifax, and I was itching to learn more about the process, and I wanted to really dive in and have a thorough understanding of the basics and build up from there, as opposed to trying to teach myself, basically. The faculty are phenomenal, and they bring a wealth of experience. Especially, I mean, Adrian, you're hearing him speak now, but he's definitely one of the stars of the program, I would say. And he and the rest of the faculty are very supportive. As like being a third term like that in Logan, beginning to develop your own recipes is something that has been brand new to me. I've worked in breweries before and have worked as a brewer in production brewing, but it's an entirely different skill. And I think that that's something that is phenomenal that we get to really work on and trial, and home brewing is incredibly important, and getting to kind of get a better understanding of the ingredients and everything. Sorry, the questions. And transitioning to online has been definitely a challenge, but similar to like what Ben said, the faculty have handled it smoothly, and it is definitely the next best thing. Having hybrid learning and being able to be in the teaching brewery every week, hands-on, learning from John and George and Brad has been wonderful. And being in the lab, the chemistry lab and the sensory lab, those are still all in person. And those are really, really fundamental. And we're lucky to be able to be in person for those. So it's a really, really wonderful program and learning opportunity. And it really does set you up for your career and whatever dreams you have to pursue in the industry. So very, very happy to be here. So thanks for listening and checking in, and yeah.
Awesome.
So much.
Thank you guys so
Really
much.
appreciate that. Yeah.
I do have the first question in the Q&A here. It says, I've been accepted for the fall term. Is there anything I can do in the meantime to get a jump start on things? Also, being that I'm from Brazil, is there anything I can do to contribute to bring some diversity to the program, such as research local ingredients, techniques, etc.? And very excited to start.
Yeah, oh, thrilled to have you. Yeah, looking forward to it. I think in terms of, I don't know, I would probably buy the boots here that you're going to need rather than taking them on the airplane, because you're going to only have a certain amount of luggage that you want to take, and boots are kind of bulky. So that would be one thing. With regards to getting ready, I think I would just urge you to just accumulate as much general knowledge, but it sounds like you already have some coming on there. I mean, I would certainly, that would be amazing if you're able to bring some of the knowledge that you have, because there are, and maybe you could shoot an email to us, actually. I'd be really great. Maybe Cole, if you could collect their contact or something, because there are certain specific beers that are from your part of the world that we're intrigued in, and maybe there might be some way that you can bring some of that to us to share, because we'd love to have that. I think beer, that's the one thing amazing. We all brewers are united by beer, and we appreciate beers from all over the world. So I think that's kind of one of those things. If we're able to, you know, find a way to do that, I'd be thrilled. Yeah. I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Sophie, Ben, and Logan, I just want to thank you guys very much for your perspectives and your time today. I have a question, kind of maybe to get the ball rolling for some of the other attendees, but I know Ben and Logan, you guys spoke on the reputation that kind of preceded itself, not really captivated you when you're looking into post-secondary. But altogether, what would you say really kind of helps set Niagara College apart from anywhere else that you looked? What kind of really elevated us to make that your final choice?
I honestly, if you can kind of like go on the brewery's website and you can see who the brewers are. Like at the brewery, like you have George, you have John, and then you have Brad. And obviously like John's story of like how we started, and like Adrian said, like opening, you know, hundreds of breweries across the world, that really piqued my interest. And then George just like kind of being, you know, the classic brewer from, you know, starting in the, I think mid 80s, but correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, and you just seem like a character in the bio. So I'd say like the people for sure at the brewery, and then yeah, like, you know, we have Adrian.
I think also the facilities. I know when I was looking, I think there's a program out in Alberta that's pretty good, similar to our program, but a lot of the other ones were more online based or more just class based, where the facilities here are like amazing. Like we have like a whole brewery that we're able to work in and learn in, and that's been great. I think that really sets it apart from a lot of the other programs.
It's actually
And
interesting.
just to add to that really quickly, something that for me was just kind of having an understanding and seeing where all of the graduates have landed internationally, and all the breweries that they've been working at or have established themselves. And I met one of the graduates of the second year program, and she was establishing a brewery in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia. And so I went and spoke to her, and there's a lot more connections kind of internationally than I had that I knew about. So that was something that really drew me in.
Awesome. It's great to hear. Thank you guys.
Wanted to add one thing, Cole. Yeah. So the program that Ben had mentioned in Alberta is actually kind of a sister program. They modeled it after the Niagara College one. So it was kind of one of those interesting. It was a collaborative thing that helped them get started there. Put it that way.
Gotcha. Awesome. I didn't know that. That's amazing. To any of the attendees who are still here, Kayla, Debbie, and I apologize if I'm not saying this right, but Opiana. Do either of you guys have direct questions for either Adrian, Sophie, Ben, Logan, myself, or anything about the program, college life? I'm a recent graduate, as well as there's 2 current students here. So, you know, you have basically the best audience in front of you for questions like this. So if there's anything you guys are looking to know, definitely feel free to post it in the chat or in the Q&A, and we'll bring that to attention. And Adrian, if you want to actually, if you want to put your email into the chat there for any of the attendees, they can actually connect with you directly if they have any further questions. And yeah.
That looks like it.
Perfect.
I think I do show up online though, so.
Perfect. Maxine, do you mind if I loop you in here?
Sorry, Cole, I missed what you had asked me. Could you say it again, please?
No, I said, do you mind if I loop you in?
Yeah, sure.
From an international perspective, kind of the same question I was asking Ben, Logan, and Sophie. What is it that you find from an international perspective that really draws students over across the border to come to our program specifically?
It really is the uniqueness of and the experience of the faculty. And that's one thing that is really obviously unique to Niagara College. And again, I'll go back to the beginning of the presentation as Adrian spoke about the peers and the faculty. And I'm certain that the students could speak to that far better than I can, but what they bring, the game that they bring to this program is outrageously fantastic. The experience, the network, you know, Sophie was speaking about the network that she has gained because of this. And they spoke about Olds College that is connected to Niagara College because of the programming and that agreement as well. If you're coming to study brew in Canada, this is the place for it. It's the birthplace of programming for brew. So it's the uniqueness of it. It is the powerhouse of faculty that are going to be teaching you, that are going to extend their network to you, both locally and globally. It's an impressive roster with some of the best bench skill you could possibly see. So I could just go on and on about this program because I've had such an incredible experience working with so many of the faculty that exist within this program. Their dedication, their passion, their love for what they do translates into every single can of beer that is sold at Niagara College. And they empower their students to do the exact same. So when you leave Niagara College, your portfolio is one of the best portfolios you'll ever have in a program like this. And again, the students can speak to that far better than I can. But what you get to do, this hands-on learning, imagine what you're going to bring to the table when you're in an interview. Imagine what you can speak to. It's phenomenal. It's almost untouchable is what I would say. I'm obviously very biased as a huge supporter of Niagara College as well, and a graduate myself, but it is an impressive program. And when you get to get your feet on campus and be in that lab and see the reality of what you're learning, you'll understand far better what I'm talking about. So it's a spectacular program. And for those students joining us today, I hope you'll get to see that yourself.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Maxine.
I'm just going to add one other little comment here that's pretty interesting. The college is actually also does a lot of research in the food and wine industry as well. As a local hub, we're actually one of the top research colleges, not universities, colleges in the country. We have amazing equipment, and we do a lot of work with the various brewing organizations, Ontario Craft Brewers and others, but also on the culinary side. And we do empower our students to take some opportunities. We draw some from, to work on research projects. I'm actually a research lead on various projects, including making macchioli and other things that we did as well. Some other interesting gluten-free beverages that we're trying to make as well. So there's opportunities on those sides. Plus within the group, within the program, we also draw students to be, sort of technical liaisons or help within the brewery itself, within the sensory group as well, and in research as well. So we realize that career is not always just brewing. Brewing is a key thing, which is what we love, but there's many different applications that you can look at as from a career side, right? Including, the sciencey stuff, the quality control and that sort of thing, all the way up to sales and marketing. So, it's a broad picture. And there's lots of opportunities. We want to give you at least a starting skill set to help you on your way, right?
Awesome. Thank you, Adrian. Well, there's only a few minutes left of the session. I think we are just down to 2 other attendees now. Does anybody else have anything to add at all?
I have a question for the students, because one of my favorite things when I go into the brewery, and I love seeing on the chalkboard the very creative names that you come up with for your beers. My favorite so far was called Stouty McStoutface. And I thought it was absolutely one of the most clever things that I've ever, that's marketing genius right there. Would you guys be so inclined as to share with me? Have you been able to name your beers? And if you have, what were they?
Yeah, I did, for my target brew, I did a Bock. And one of my friends from New Brunswick loves Bocks, and he was the first person I ever watched Apocalypse Now with. So I thought I'd make him a Bock and then call it Apocalypse Now. So kind of.
I like that. I like that.
That's still good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do come up with a lot of creative names, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's fun, for sure.
I had just named my beer. I did a Belgian Pale Ale, and I was trying to do something that rhymed. So I did Drop the Sail Belgian Pale Ale, and Drop the Sail was kind of an inside joke to me. It's kind of a long story, but
yeah,
it's definitely fun naming.
It was funnier if you were there for the inside joke.
Nice.
Sophie, what about yourself?
I brewed a North American Pale Ale, and I still don't have a name for it. My deadline is I have to have a name by Wednesday because it's being canned. So I have a couple days. It's getting down to the wire, but honestly, naming beers is a little tough. There's a lot of different ways you can take it. So, it's a lot of fun though. So mine's in the works, in process.
In our last few minutes, I just have a question for. Oh, actually, there's a question here. Can you talk a bit about working in breweries while taking the course?
Yeah, so historically it can be challenging because there are, when we're 100% on campus, we do have students that do this. It depends on the brewery that you're in, but there's certain things that you cannot miss, and you cannot miss the dedicated times for brewing. You cannot miss labs or sensory labs. So that's kind of the only thing. There are ways to work around this. It's hard to know, how much of this model will stay through from a hybrid perspective, but we have had, there is some flexibility. So I think it's kind of case by case to a certain point, really, to see how that works. But there are certain fixed milestones that really you have to be here, because you can't virtually teach someone to hook a hose up to something or how to clean a tank. How to get a stuck mash unstuck. There's certain things that you have to actually experience, right? So.
Sure. On a note to end it with for this session, I do just want to ask, I feel like this is very relative, to Ben, Logan, and Sophie. What would you guys say has been the biggest adaptation since going into this kind of hybrid style with all the COVID-19 measures in place?
Oh.
Yeah. Definitely just going from full-time classes to full-time online was a bit of a learning curve at first, but by now we're almost full-time classes again, so it's
yeah. I'd also say not getting a chance to see the other terms was kind of hard when we were in first term. We got to see first term through fourth term. And there was a bit of a pass off of knowledge there. So I think that yeah, I think that's one of the things that I miss most.
Mhm.
But
I would say largely like something that has become increasingly important as we've gone from fully online to hybrid and back and forth, kind of as Ontario is changing its protocols, is like time management. And without having scheduled times to go to classes and have an understanding, it's a lot more on your shoulders. So that's been a big shift for lots of people in the program, I would say. Yeah.
Fair. Do you guys have any advice that you would give to students who are coming into a hybrid delivery as opposed to, you're in grade 12, you're kind of working towards that full-time in-class student outside of COVID, obviously. With all those adoptions, do you guys have any advice to give to a student who is coming into or looking to come into that hybrid delivery?
yeah, I mean, I definitely like echo Sophie, like time management is like very important. Also,
I think just like staying on top of the work and making sure you're like watching all of the lectures and everything, so you're still getting the content that you're not getting in person would definitely be a big one.
I would maybe recommend if you're able to start maybe building a homebrew environment that you can start experimenting and practicing on your own, and that's really it's all about I would say like repetition in terms of getting comfortable with those things and really having an understanding of how everything works together. So that would maybe be, I wish that I was kind of, I got everything going now, but I was a little slow to start. So that would be my recommendation. Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be expensive. I still have my mash tun that's a Home Depot bucket with holes in it. Right?
Exactly.
So, I mean, and it makes great beer. So there's lots of ways of doing this, right? So it doesn't have to be fancy.
Fair enough. Well, thank you guys all so much for your time today. That comes to the conclusion of the Brewmaster session. If anybody has any questions that is watching this, please feel free to reach out to Adrian directly, and then he can connect you with if you're looking to maybe speak to another student like Ben, Logan, Sophie, or if you want to speak with in an international perspective, Maxine as well is the great person to reach out to. So thank you guys so much for your time today. For all Adrian, Sophie, Ben, Logan, Maxine, thank you guys for joining. We hope to see you guys in the fall.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take care, everybody.
Be safe.
Good
everyone.
luck, Ben, Logan, and Sophie, as you end out your term in another unique year. Congratulations to you. Do
Thank you,
well.
Maxine.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Take care, everyone.